If you're anything like me, you have absolutely zero knowledge of the gaming world. And I mean zero. This video took a lot of research. But if you either live with someone that loves gaming and simply want to understand the gaming lingo, or maybe you just started playing video games and are keen to talk like a gamer, well, then this is the video for you. But just super quickly before we get into it, my name is Dasha, and on this channel, I help you take your English to the next level. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to never miss an upload. The thing that baffles me the most about the gaming world is the fact that there's so many different types of video games out there. And I don't mean just genres like adventure or zombie apocalypse. Apparently, there's such a thing as PvP, which stands for player versus player. And it means exactly what it says on the box, in that it's a game where people compete or play against each other. These are games like League of Legends and World of Warcraft. By contrast, you also have PvE games, and you basically play against computer-controlled opponents, like in Destiny and Minecraft, I guess. Then you have FPS games that are first-person shooters, with characters' point of view and are generally more immersive than PvP and PvE games. So we're talking about games like Counter-Strike, Halo, Call of Duty, which I'm sure you've probably heard of, even if you're not a video game buff. Similarly, you have TPS games.
You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out.
No, not that kind of TPS. These are actually third-person shooters, so think Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, and Resident Evil. These are the type of games where the character is centered or you're looking over their shoulder. On the other hand of the spectrum, we have RPGs like Final Fantasy, which are role-playing games where a player assumes the role of a character in a fictional setting. And let us not forget the action real-time strategy games, or ARTS for short, like Dota, which are actually quite complicated and require a lot of strategic thinking. In all, these are just some of the different kind of games out there, and a lot of the gaming slang is specific to the type of game you or someone else is playing. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So here's a phrase for you: get wrecked. Rekt is an intentional misspelling of the word wrecked, or at least I hope it's intentional, which means destroyed. And it refers to a player or a team getting destroyed by an opponent, and it can be used in a first-person shooter or real-time strategy game. As an example, you could say, get wrecked, noob, or dude, you just got wrecked by a noob. And a noob, also spelled with 2 zeros in the middle because hell, why not, means newbie, a person that's new to the game or a person that's not skilled enough yet. It's typically used in a derogatory way, meaning disrespectfully to describe someone that sucks at playing. And similar to noob, there's also the phrase get good or get good. Like wrecked, get good and get good are intentional misspellings of get good. You'd say it to an inexperienced player as a way of telling them to get good because they suck so much. And annoying, low-skilled players are not the only thing that pisses off gamers on a regular basis. High latency or lag is extremely annoying, especially if you're playing fast-paced games like a first-person shooter. Lag is a noticeable delay between the player's actions and the reaction of the server supporting the game if you're obviously playing an online game. It's very commonly blamed for losses in matches, so if you lose a game because of lag, you could say, I only lost the game because of lag. And if you move your character from one spot to another, but the game pulls you back where you were before because of lag, that's called rubberbanding. So let's say that you try to jump from one rooftop to another rooftop and get pulled back mid-jump. That's called rubberbanding. Aside from being a noob that needs to get good, another way to fall from the graces of your fellow players is to engage in the activity of camping.
Pussy campers! He called us pussy campers!
That is to camp or be a camper. No one likes a camper. A camper is a player that doesn't move around a lot during gameplay and just lays low in a strategic spot, waiting for another player to appear and eventually kill. It's commonly used in first-player shooters where players run around and kill each other. Having campers in a game often leads to boring gameplay, which is why they're generally disliked. In a sentence, you could say, I just shot a camper, or get the camper. Now, in most games, you or the enemy will be able to spawn. All this means is that a player can come back to life after being killed or materialize for the first time. So imagine that your character dies. You'll respawn back to life at a certain point in the game or at a so-called spawn point. Likewise, if you keep killing enemies and new ones appear, you could say that the new enemies are spawning. But then there's also such a thing as a spawn camper. Needless to say, it's quite a controversial practice and is frowned upon, but it's when a player sits by a spawn point and kills players that respawn and join the game. It's a controversial practice because a lot of players argue that spawn camping is a form of game exploitation and it's plain old poor sportsmanship. Some games even have mechanisms and AI that prevent people from spawn camping. Now imagine that you keep shooting an enemy and it just won't die. All it does is suck up damage like a sponge. Well, in that case, that enemy is said to be a bullet sponge, and you could say something like, dude, this, I don't know, zombie is a bullet sponge. And if you ever find yourself doing a repetitive task in a game, sort of like shooting or fighting an enemy over and over again, that's called grinding. The act of grinding is typically used in role-playing games or RPGs to level up or earn materials to upgrade your weapon. Moving on to the words griefer or griefing, which is commonly used in games like Minecraft. It refers to players that make other players' gaming experience a living hell by trolling or destroying the environment around them. They just ruin the game for everyone. These players are called griefers or take part in the act of griefing because they give other players a sense of sadness and grief. So in Minecraft, for example, you'll get griefers that destroy people's buildings just for the fun of it or because they're assholes. Like spawn campers, griefers are looked down upon and are much disliked in the gaming community. Now here's the video game slang word for you that's been around for well over a decade. It's the word pwned, not pond, pwned. Pwnd derives from owned, hence the pronunciation, and it's used to express the fact that a player has totally dominated another player. You could say it to someone that you completely crushed in an online game, and you could say, dude, you just got pwned. So if you didn't know, now you know. And finally, the word poggers, which is another way of saying amazing. See, even the gaming community thought that amazing was an overused word and came up with a new one. As for the origin of the word pogger, it comes from the term PogChamp that was used by Twitch users to express excitement. It was then associated with an excited looking emote and became a way to express excitement and shock. Eventually, PogChamp evolved to the word pogger, and like I already said, it's another way to say amazing. So let's say that you win a game, you could say, oh my god, we won, poggers. And that's all for today. If you found this video poggers, don't forget to give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more English learning content. Let me know in your comments if you play video games and if you already know any of these words. See you in the next one. Bye bye.